Hello guys, welcome to another session on polity. So in this lecture, we will be discussing some of the most significant constitutional positions and institutions in India that ensure the smooth functioning of our democracy. So what we'll cover is, first we'll start with the Attorney General of India, and then we'll move on to Comptroller and Auditor General, CAG, and then we'll discuss about Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, the structure, the function, the special powers and all. And then we also look at Speaker and the pro-tem Speaker, and then anti-defection law. So these are the topics that I am planning to cover in this video. So this is like a revision session. So I'll go quickly so that it will help you to save some time also, so that you can cover everything as a revision. So if you have already covered this topic, this is going to help you a lot. So all these are not just theoretical topics. Please understand that they are the areas from where direct questions are asked in both prelims and mains. For example, anti-defection law, they used to ask before also and now also. So there's a very important question in prelims as well as in mains, Attorney General of India. And again, everything depends upon the current affairs also. So let's start with Attorney General. That's the topmost legal officer in India. And he is called the first law officer of the government of India. And he's appointed by the president under Article 76 of the Constitution. And his tenure is not fixed. That means he holds office during the pleasure of the president. And the government can remove him anytime. So when we see the pleasure of the president, it of course related to the pleasure of Council of Ministers, because president act in the advice of the Council of Ministers. And to become an Attorney General, you have to, one must have to qualify to be appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court, which means, so what are the qualifications of judge of a Supreme Court? The same is applicable here also. That means he should be a citizen of India first, and he must have, have been a judge of High Court for at least 5 years. So that's another qualification that we can discuss. And then an advocate in a High Court for 10 years. So either a judge of a high court for 5 years or advocate in a high court for 10 years. So any of these, or an eminent jurist in the opinion of the president. Okay. So these are the qualification exactly similar to the Supreme Court judge that we have already discussed. Now, what are the duties and powers? See, the Attorney General's primary duty is to advise the government on legal matters. And he also appears on behalf of government of India in all courts, including Supreme Courts and High Courts. Okay, so he represents the government of India. He give the legal advice to the government, and he has the right to speak in Parliament and can attend the committee meetings, but he cannot vote. So he have the right to speak in Parliament, can attend the committee meetings also. Interestingly, the Attorney General can take up, private legal practice also, but not against the government of India or any state government. So normally that's not the case. If you are someone who are related to government, then you are not allowed to take any private matters. But here in this case, if you're not going against the government, like if there is a case X versus Union of India, or X versus state of Kerala or state of Maharashtra. In those cases, he cannot, appear for the private party. But if it's X versus Y, right? So then if it is not against the government of India, he can appear for the private party also. Now, the salary and privileges, see, the Attorney General does not receive a fixed salary. He is actually paid as a retainer. And, this amount is decided by the president, and he enjoyed the privileges and immunities of a member of parliament. I've told you, he can attend the meetings or he can speak also, right? So such kind of protection, he get from arrest also, because he's having that privileges and immunities of the member of parliament. So the member of parliament gets such kind of protection from arrest in certain cases, and also freedom of speech in parliament. So I told you already, he can speak in parliament, and he get the privileges and immunities of the member of parliament exactly like that. So the other points that you can remember is the Attorney General is not a full-time government servant, that I've already mentioned, and he is assisted by Solicitor General, and then further that additional Solicitor Generals are there. So by convention, the Attorney General resign when the government, that appoint him loses the power, right? So I told you the government is actually appointing, and the Council of Ministers, in fact, when you say president appoint, it's the satisfaction of the Council of Ministers actually. So when the government loses the power, so as per convention, the Attorney General also resigns. And this shows that Attorney General's role is not just legal, but also, political to some extent, right? Because the government goes, so Attorney General also resign. Now, the next is Advocate General of the state. See, similar to Attorney General at the center level, here is at the state level. So at the state level, the counterpart of Attorney General is the Advocate General. So again, just like Attorney General is appointed by the President, Advocate General is appointed by the Governor in the state. And, the role is basically to advise the state government in legal matters, just like Attorney General advise the central government in the legal matters. So same here, and he holds office during the pleasure of the government, just like Attorney General holds the office during the pleasure of the President. And here also it depends upon the, as I told you, he can also practice privately, just like Attorney General, but not against the cases against the state of, the state and union. So that same things are applied here also, but here it's at the state level, appointed by the governor. So now let's move on to the Comptroller and Auditor General. See guys, the Comptroller and Auditor General is again one of the most respected constitutional authorities in India, again appointed by President under Article 148. They used to ask Comptroller and Auditor General earlier in mains also. So he is actually known as the guardian of public purse. He audits the account of union and the state governments, including public corporations also. And his reports are submitted to the president or governor, who will then place before parliament or state legislature. So he audits the account of union and then submit to president. He places that in the president will place that in the parliament. He audit the account of the state government, give it to, or submit it to the governor. He places that in the state legislature. So that's how it is. And the removal process, see, the Comptroller and Auditor General enjoy independence, just like the judge of a Supreme Court, and he can be removed only in the similar manner as a Supreme Court judge. That means by the president first, and on the basis of resolution passed by both the houses of parliament. So again, you need the special majority here, and the ground is like proved misbehavior or incapacity. So it has to be proved. Again, natural justice is applied. He have the right to defend himself. So all these normal rights and privileges are otherwise also there. So he can only be removed in the similar manner as that of judge in Supreme Court by the president, resolution passed by both the houses of parliament with special majority. So I have already discussed about that procedure anyway, so you can go through that. So after restrictions, there are after retirement, there are restrictions. So it's like the Comptroller and Auditor General cannot be appointed to any other government post after retirement. So that basically ensure he will remain neutral and prevents, future lobbying kind of things. So that's some restrictions for this particular post. Now let's move on to Parliament of India. So here we'll start with Rajya Sabha, then we'll go to Lok Sabha. Okay, so Rajya Sabha, the Council of States, so that's the upper house of the Parliament, and has the maximum strength of 250 members, out of which 233 elected by the state legislative assemblies using the proportional representation and single transferable vote system. 12 members are nominated by the president for their contribution to arts, science, literature, and social services. Okay, now there are special powers of Rajya Sabha. That in itself is actually a prelims as well as mains question. That means Rajya Sabha can authorize a parliament to make laws on subjects in the state list. Under which article? Article 249, very important. So yeah, Rajya Sabha can authorize a parliament to make laws on state list. Right? So Article 249, and can also create new All India services under Article 312. So again, they participate in election of the president. So we have already discussed the election of president, the procedure. So the participation of Rajya Sabha is there, impeachment of president and judges, and then amendment of the constitution. So here all you need to get that resolution passed by the Rajya Sabha also. Again, if you see the presiding officer, the Vice President of India is the ex officio chairperson of Rajya Sabha. So a deputy chairperson is elected from its members. So who's the chairperson? That's the Vice President of India. Okay, or automatically. Now, Lok Sabha. So I'm quickly going through these facts so that you will remember things. Okay. So Lok Sabha, that's the House of the People. That's the lower house of Parliament. And it have 543 members. Right? Earlier, 2 Anglo-Indians could be nominated, but that provision has been removed now. So it's 543. Earlier it was 545, and then 2 Anglo-Indians who were nominated. By now it's 543. Now, we'll move on to the Speaker of Lok Sabha, just like what we discussed in case of chairman. So, elected by the Lok Sabha members, of course, and he has some very important powers. The major powers is he presides over Lok Sabha, the Speaker presides over Lok Sabha, and decides on matters related to anti-defection law. Anti-defection law is a very important topic. Next topic that I'm going to cover quickly will be anti-defection law. So, the president. Speaker decide on the matters related to anti-defection law, and he heads various parliamentary committees also. Various parliamentary committees in itself is a topic for your mains, and it is separately given in your Lakshmikant also. Go through that, and he maintains order during discussions. Okay, and he presides over joint sessions of parliament also. Now, pro-tem speaker means it is appointed again, like by the president, to preside over the first meeting of Lok Sabha after election. At that point of time, the speaker is not elected, right? So, and he administers oath to the newly elected members, and he oversees the election of new speakers. So, till the time a new speaker is elected from the members of Lok Sabha, there will be a pro-tem speaker. So, he will be appointed by the president for the administration of oath of newly elected members and overseeing the election of new speaker, etc. So let's quickly move on to anti-defection law. Which schedule? It is a 10 schedule. So this law basically aims to curb the political defections and will ensure stability in the government. So that will protect people to move from one party to the other. Okay. So the key provision is if an elected member voluntarily gives up membership of a party. Okay, so what are the let's look at the key provisions first, and then we will discuss the other aspects also. So elected member voluntarily gives up membership of a party. That's one. Okay, and then second condition, he votes or abstain from voting against party whip without permission. Again, they can be disqualified. So I'm talking about the key provisions of anti-defection law. What is considered as defection, or what is a disqualification? So you elected from a particular party, and then he voluntarily gives up membership of that party. That's one condition. He vote or abstains from voting against party whip, which is asked to do, right, without permission. Then again, he will be disqualified. Again, an independent member joining a political party after elections, again disqualified. So independent member win the election, then joins the party, again disqualification. Again, a nominated member must join a party within 6 months after after that. If he is joining, then that lead to disqualification. Okay, so these are the conditions which we can mention. Apart from that, whose authority for disqualification? Of course, the speaker when it comes to Lok Sabha, and the chairman Rajya Sabha decides disqualification, but their decision is again subject to judicial review by court. So this kind of decision, there are a lot of cases also. So that will ultimately go through Supreme Court, whether it is a defection or not, and then Supreme Court judgment will be there. That's the final thing. Okay, so again, whip and party direction. So parties issue whips, which means these are official orders on voting. That's what I told you. If you vote against the whip, then what will happen? You will be disqualified. Okay, without permission, if you vote against the whip or against the party, that is one condition for disqualification. So if member violate the whip, then he will be disqualified under the defection law. So if you see, this law basically is essential to maintain discipline among the MPs and MLAs, and that will prevent that political instability which caused due to frequent defections. Otherwise, again, that individual aspect will come, individual interest will come. People can go against the party once they got elected from the party, so that can create instability kind of situation. So that this law actually prevent that and maintain that discipline among the elected members. So let's quickly recap what all things we have learned in this session. We discussed about Attorney General, and I told you that's the topmost, the legal advisor of Government of India. We discussed the Comptroller and Auditor General, who audits the government spending and maintains the financial accountability. We discussed about Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, the two houses of parliament with their own powers, composition, and roles. Have to go through that very important topic. And then we discussed about Speaker and Pro-Tem Speaker. They play crucial roles in the functioning, and maintaining the order of Lok Sabha. And then we discussed about anti-defection law that prevents elected members from switching parties unethically, and this actually help to ensure ensure the political stability and prevent such kind of change from one to the other. Okay, so it helped in maintaining discipline also among the members. So all these topics are extremely important from exam point of view, and backbone of our Indian parliamentary democracy also. So guys, very important for both prelims and mains. That's why exactly I have taken these topics. So thank you so much for attending this session. And if you're looking for any mentorship for civil services or one-to-one consultation or test series, get in touch with us. The course details and everything is given in the description. Check out that also. So see you in the next session, guys. Thank you so much.